I am DM Zone. This is Gamers Oasis. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, this is a Qadar's instance or mission, however you want to view it. It's a repeatable mission you can do several times a day. It requires one Nawa core energy cell. It also requires that you go get the card for Qadar's instance. You have to get that separately. Now, you'll see here I don't have the card. I was just checking to see what it would tell me. It would use the wrong version of the word dam. In this case, we're talking about something that holds back water. So Toulan, if you want to fix that, that makes a lot of sense. So before you go get this mission from this guy, go get the card. Make sure you have your Nawa card, energy cell, and that type of stuff. To get the card, you're going to have to fly or walk or whatever you need to do across the water over to Dam Cliff. It is a cliff that's basically near-ish the dam. And it's a little town with no portal, so you can't teleport there. You have to walk or fly. I chose to fly in my quad. You can do whatever you want to get there. You get over here to Maher. Maher is the next step of this. You give him some Mercil tokens. Mercil tokens are tokens that you get from the CUHOF instance. The CUHOF instance you've already seen if you've been following my channel. If not, I'll link to it in this video. And then that will get you the Mercil tokens you need to buy the card. In this case, I'm buying the Qadar card, but any of these cards will work. They have a 80, 160, and 120, I think, are the prices for them. It's not that much. It's a one-time purchase. The Nawa core energy cells, though, are the part that you have to replace every time. The guy next to him, I'll have a future video talking about that guy as he continues this with parts, but I didn't get any, so I don't have anything to talk about with that at this moment in time. Now, you go back, you get the location of the instance. He basically is giving you permission to go there type of thing, or however you want to view that. In this case, I'm taking my hovercraft. I'm going to go from land to water, go across this little ocean or inlet, whatever you want to call it, get to the other side, go up the ramp, go to where the instance is. When I get to the top of the instance, that will be where I can do all three of these within the same instance. All three have the same layout. All three have different mobs within there that are unique to that particular instance. There's the Qadar, Qadar, and the Shamsdar. So as you can see, I get there, I go ahead and enter the instance. In this particular instance, there are Qafis, however you want to pronounce that, and Dahar. There's a total of like 20 mobs is all it is. There's level 2 Qafis Guardians, which are not very difficult to fight. There's only 4 of them. Then there are 2 slightly harder Qafis Dominant, and then there is level 4 Dahar Old Alphas. Any of the Dahar, they have such low hit points, frankly, that if you're using an LR 15 or 20, you're really not going to have any problem. I'm using adjusted Muska armor from my Disciple. That was plenty for any of the Dahar. I don't really want to waste a whole lot of time talking about them. There is 2 Stalkers layer that might be a little difficult. I didn't use plates for any of these fights, though. I didn't use any sort of amps. I just used an LR 20, and there was no problem in this particular mission. The Qafis in general are a little bit more difficult of a creature to fight. So doing a little bit of a deep dive on these, Dahar are 90% penetration according to the wiki, and they are 10% stab. So if you have a need to protect yourself against those particular creatures, being able to armor against penetration is mostly what you're going to need to do. The Stalkers have 290 hit points. Again, for an LR 15 or LR 20, that's like nothing. Guardians are 140. The Dominants come in at 160. The Qafis come in a little bit harder. Guardians have 250 hit points. Dominants have 300 hit points. Stalkers are at 660. So even the top end of this are not extremely high hit points for, frankly, Toulan or for an LR15, LR20. If you're doing this with an LR10, you might have some difficulty. These are a tri-type damage. They do very little stab, so it really comes in at like about 10%. But the cut and impact are 40 and 50%. So if you really have cut, impact, and a little bit of penetration, you're doing fine versus any of these mobs in here. This is basically, if you have Disciple Armor and you have an LR15, this mission here is fairly easy to do. And it's repeatable, like I said. And it can drop any of the CUHOF parts that you are really wanting. So this particular mission can drop the Ancient Carpet, at least red. I don't know if it can drop the green and the blue, but I assume it can. I'm not 100% for sure, but I know it can drop the parts. So you got the Nawa Core MK1, or excuse me, 2 and 3 parts, and then each one of those parts have an A, B, C, D, and E, which are all used to upgrade the Nawa Core MK. 1 to a 2 and then 2 to a 3, and these unlock further missions. I have a video specifically on that already, which I'll try and link to this one in addition. So there are some benefits and reasons why you do this. The Mercil tokens really deserve their own video. That video hasn't come out yet. Look for that one coming out in the future. If this is in the future, check my playlist for the Toulan videos, and you should be able to find that one in there if it's already been released. So when it came down to the last mob, it was no problem. I went ahead and killed it. So it is interesting that only certain missions work in here. What I will say is important about this is there are items outside of the list that have been known to drop. I saw a video where a guy was hunting and killing and a table lamp dropped, which was an object that you could put inside a house that created a little bit of light. I think that's pretty awesome. I think that there are other things in there that we don't know about yet that would be just as interesting. Also, there are these parts that I talked about, and I haven't got any of these parts. When I do get some of these parts and I do the follow-up mission, I'll try and link it back to this one, or you can check Toulan if you have the parts and see if I've gained a part by then and have done the video on that yet. But that's going to be turned into the guy next to Maher. Anyways, guys, if you want to see more videos like this, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Look for more coming up in the future. I'm going to be doing one for each one of these instances, so later this week or next week you'll see the Qadar one, then after that you'll see the Shamdar. So I hope you guys enjoy these videos. Let me know if there's anything I missed so I can go ahead and follow up with that in the future videos as they come out. Thank you, appreciate, and keep her in that bed. Bye.